In Dick's opinion, there's simply not enough time to cut several door holes in each container. Gem cutting one large one instead is a much smarter idea. Or is it?
Maybe the professor was right.
No, because, well, yes and no. Once I put a beam across there, we've effectively made an I-beam at the top, it's all right.
I honestly believe it will be fine, as long as they don't have any roof parties.
Although the professor's warnings about the strength of the containers are correct, so long as Gem gets supporting beams in quickly, Dick's gamble will have been worth it, and time will have been saved. By the following morning, the previous night's hard work has paid off. The containers are now ready to be joined and then welded together.
Now we just want the steel goalposts to match up.
Dick and Gem have taken a real gamble on cutting out huge holes in the sides of the containers. Moving them needs to be an ultra-delicate operation. Moving them again could catastrophically damage their already weakened structure.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, we're getting the handle on, mate.
Keep going that way. Well, that's almost perfect. Lower it there. That's not far off at all.
So long as Dick and Gem's calculations have been correct, the large box section steel frames which support the huge holes cut into the containers should line up. Fingers crossed.
Hey, listen, thank you very much indeed. Cheers.
Okay. Good work.
Thanks.
Wow. Who would have thought that?
At last, the three 20-foot containers are in position and the box frames all line up perfectly. So far, so good.
In you come, in you come, in you come.
What's the verdict? Hey, don't be shy.
Dick and Gem have deviated from the student's design and the professor's advice, and have cut out larger steel sections from the container's sides. But will anyone notice?
I thought we were having, like, partitions and that.
Well spotted.
Minor part of it.
It was a bit of an economical decision on sort of time. Rather than have to match up a door and a framework, if you see what I mean, like a kind of walk through there, we thought if we cut the whole thing out, stiffen it, then match those two together, and then all we need to do there is put an internal door.
Partition,
Yeah. I think when you walk around in here, there's as much space as you could possibly imagine having with 3 shipping containers. So I think that's good.
Right, we can all stand in a circle and pat the person in front's back if we want to, but we've got work to do.
Now that stage 1 of the container house is complete, it's time for Dick and Gem to think about how they're going to create a sustainable home that people could actually live in.
We've got roofs, walls, ceilings, big spaces. What do we need to put into it?
All of them need light and heat.
Right, and we have to save energy in that. The lighting needs to be low energy.
Yep.
And any heat we put in, we're going to keep it in there with insulation.
Yeah. Now, the 2 really difficult rooms, I think, are the kitchen and the bathroom. Because the kitchen, we need water coming in.
Yeah, and obviously the waste going out.
Waste going out. And cooking.
Do students cook?
We've got to give them the facilities to cook. One day they're going to grow up and want to make a meal.
Okay, and the bathroom, it's got...
Bathroom's potentially harder still, because it's not just water coming in
and waste going out. The waste from sewage is an issue.
Sewage.
Where we are now, on a car park, sewage is a problem. It's going to have to be something like a compost toilet.
Compost toilets are ideal on sites where there is no sewage access. They're self-contained units which require no water, only regular handfuls of sawdust. Bacteria break down the waste, leaving fertiliser for the garden, and special venting makes them odour-free. Not cheap at £1,000, but for the lads, this is an ideal green addition to their ambition to make the house ecologically sustainable.
We give them solar panels so they can collect free energy.
The students living in there will get a real feel for what it is to be sustainable, as well as in affordable housing.
I love it. It's not just a big experiment, it's now a very big experiment.
Containers are constructed of different thicknesses of steel, 5mm floors, 6mm corner posts, and a very thin 1.5mm for the sides and roof. Hugely strong, but hopeless in terms of keeping the cold out and the heat in. The next stage is crucial: insulation. In the UK, £5 billion worth of energy is lost each year, much of it through poor insulation. More than 40% of the heat escapes through walls and lofts. In order for Dick to figure out what kind of material is the most efficient insulator inside a metal box, he's rounded up some students to line each container with a different product. First, Dick and student Ben are lagging container 1 in glass mineral wool. At £30 per roll, it's not the cheapest, but about 75% of it is recycled.
It gives a nice warm feel to that end.
Makes it quite warm doing it.
What do you mean? You're now an expert. One room later, you've probably laid more insulation than most people in Britain.
While Ben carries on lagging the walls of container 1 with the mineral wool, Dick needs to stay up to speed, cutting and fitting the coated chipboard walls, all designed to retain as much heat as possible.
Right, how's that? Happy?
Yeah, not bad.
Jem and Stephen are cladding container 3 in thermohemp. Compressed thick hemp fibres sandwiched inside a reflective foil. Very expensive at nearly £40 per roll, but it is far less bulky than the other products.
Can I just say, this is the end you're living in, so make sure you get nice and warm.
Dick and Andy are using eco wool in container 2. 85% of this insulation uses recycled plastic bottles. It's the cheapest by far at £15 per roll, yet has extremely good heat retention.
All the rooms are going to have a similar air temperature. Which one do you see looking the hottest from the outside?
I've got to tell you, it depends how well you do it. If you leave any gaps, cold air comes through it. I personally think it'll be at this end.
Like you said, though, it's down to how well it's put in, so I'm going for this end too.
Dick has spent a total of £680 on insulation. When the house is complete, he's planning to put the 3 different materials to the test with a thermal imaging camera. But in the meantime, eco-curiosity has got the better of him.
Remember all those little gaps?
There is one source of warmth which might test the effectiveness of different insulations. Human beings.
It's lovely and warm, actually. Even in this lovely windy day, I can't feel the thing.
It suits you. Make this a proper experiment. Look at this, the man's nearly naked anyway. Now this is eco wool, recycled from plastic bottles.
It says it doesn't itch. This is what we're putting on the container.
I'm getting drafts. He's got drafts.
I think we're learning a lot here. In the interest of science, Dick and I are actually going to get on with finishing that.
Yeah.
But if you two could just sort of compare notes as to how the insulation's performing.
If you get a really cold scream, somebody's bound to come and help you.
Yeah. I think you look moderately more stylish, but with Christmas coming, you do quite well yourself. Just enjoy yourselves.
Okay.
See you later.
And to give the experiment real scientific credibility, Dick and Jem decide that a couple of hours is about the right length of time to leave the boys.
Okay then, real science. How are we doing? What's the verdict? Are you warm?
Warm, but a bit drafty in the places where it's folded over.
Okay, marks out of 10 for warmth.
7.
Warmth out of 10? Marks out of 10?
About an 8.
About an 8?
Oh.
So yeah, it's more expensive, but it scores better.
Yeah.
Right, you've got enough, you two. Time to do some work.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
come on. Oh.
It's a new day. Now that the insulation stage has been completed, Jem cracks on with fitting internal walls and doors. Dick's curious about what his options might be for heat, cooking and power. Very few people live in self-sufficient metal boxes, but strangely, there are quite a few waterborne examples that may provide him with some ideas.
Roy, nice to meet you. How you doing?
Come on in.
It's lovely and warm in here.
Sandra and Roy's home is a canal narrowboat.
Would you like a drink?
A cup of tea would be lovely. Thank you. All the heat in here is coming from the little stove.
Yeah. No central heating, that's all it is.
Yeah. Well, and what are you burning in this, Sandra?
At the moment, we're burning smokeless coal.
Smokeless coal?
Smokeless coal.
Well, we're in a marina.
We're in a marina, just at the moment.
We can't, because wood isn't smokeless.
It's multi-fuelled.
The size of that kettle for the two of you. Look at that. You can have the whole marina in for tea or coffee with that one.
I can't lift it.
Just a little bit of lifting, but...
It's serious. So that's your hot water supply?
That's hot water supply.
When we're not moving.
If we're not moving, but the engine does supply us with hot water as well.
Careful.
Thank you very much indeed. Boiled on the stove.
Boiled on the stove, you can't beat it.
Notice you have some solar panels. You've got all these lights. Are all the lights 12 volts? On the solar, and the solar panel charges your batteries up when you get enough sun?
Yeah. In the summertime, the amperage whips up. The batteries will charge up, and they'll give us enough power in the batteries to run the fridge, which is electricity, 12-volt fridge. 12 volt fridge. So it runs that, runs the light, and...
Television and video.
Is that an oven?
That's my oven.
Had we known you was coming, we would have had
a nice cake.
Thank you very much indeed. It's a lovely, lovely place to visit.
Seeing Sandra and Roy's wood-burning stove, solar panels and insulation working so well is encouraging. But to operate efficiently in a much larger space like a container is a different proposition altogether. But Dick is feeling inspired.
The wood burner. It's got a number of jobs to do. We got flames. Those flames are going to heat up some water for us. And what we're going to do is we're going to store all that hot water in a thermal store, a heat store. Yeah. So we'll take water from here, we'll heat it up.
Dick's thermal store is a giant hot water tank heated by the wood-burning stove. A separate water pipe carrying cold mains pressure water coils its way through the hot water tank, delivering piping hot water at the other end.
That's ace. So you get cold mains water coming in and then hot mains water coming out.
Plus hot water from our pieces of wood burning. We also have the ability to cook on the top of this.
Yeah.
And it's sending heat out into the room. So we've got cooking, heating and hot water from a log.
Dick, that's a work of genius.
Dick's hot water heating system is an ideal eco-solution for the house. But if it's not fitted correctly, they could be sitting on a ticking bomb.
If it was to get over 100 degrees, we would have a problem.
I'm petrified of that whole scene. I really properly am. The potential disaster is so horrendous.
Absolutely. I agree entirely. You know, this closed circuit, if we were to make a mistake on this, it's a very big thing to crack and blow up and stuff.
In order to underline the danger of Dick installing a wood-burning stove and hot water tank himself, it's back down to the safety of the container depot to see what Jem's cooked up.
Hard hat.
I didn't have a good feeling about this. It's getting worse.
You'll need it. High vis, you might need that.
Jem.
Solid steel. Bulletproof plastic.
Oh, dear.
Thick wooden construction.
No, this is going downhill. You know that, don't you?
Tin of beans.
No.
Yes, this is the worst case scenario that I'm trying to set up here. I've got little solid fuel burning things.
Yeah, they're for camps. They burn very hot for little campfires.
Very hot indeed. I've put far too many...
There's a lot of heat in that, mate.
There's far too much heat in there, but that's like our wood-burning stove, okay?
Right.
This is like our back boiler. It's a thin-skinned metal container full of liquid. And now I'm going to sprinkle a few more of these around, just for extra danger. It's a very important experiment.
You're not going to light that, are you?
Of course we're going to light it. Right?
You are not joking. You got out of there quickly, didn't you, mate?
I did. What we're doing is phenomenally wrong, but sometimes in the pursuit of knowledge...
That's not clever.
When water gets above 100 degrees centigrade, it wants to become a gas. At this point, it expands about 1,000-fold and escapes from its container, like boiling a kettle. The can of baked beans is Dick's hot water tank. By not allowing pressure to escape from the tank by venting it correctly, the liquid inside cannot escape and become a gas. Eventually, the structure cannot contain the huge pressure inside it and must explode.
Get back a bit.
Do you know, I feel a little bit guilty, Owen, so I thought I was hiding behind you for a moment.
No, I'm hiding behind you.
How long do you think it's going to take?
I don't actually know, Dick.
What?
The theory is the liquid inside wants to become a gas because it gets so hot. It can't. The only thing that's stopping it is the bean tin. Eventually the bean tin has to go. You can just see the ends bulging though. You know something's happening in there.